tell about your trip to the grocery store. We're all going to be asleep in about 10 lines. We don't care. But I'm about to tell you something that happened to me, and I'm going to go through all of the narrative aspects that you're going to have to incorporate into this coursework paper. Are you ready? 2001. In 2001, I and 5 of my colleagues from Baton County School District went on a school trip to learn about senior project. It was 4 English teachers, 1 history teacher, and 1 principal. And we went to Savannah, Georgia, and just attended this extensive week-long training to understand about senior project. And senior project was a research paper. It was also a product that the students had to produce. Now, at this point, if I took senior project and went off into the wild blue yonder and talked about senior project for paragraph and paragraph, because I could tell you all about some senior project. I'm off course. Do you see this? Over here is the wild blue yonder. I'm not telling you what happened in Savannah, Georgia. I'm off point. I'm over here talking about something I don't even need to be talking about. Do y'all see what I mean? Scrap that. I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to just briefly tell you why we were down there. We were there to learn about senior project. Senior project was a research paper and a product combined. All right? Truly, I don't even really have to tell you that, but I wanted to go ahead and add that detail in there. So, what year was it? 2001. 2001. How many people were on the trip?
It was 7 people.
It was 6. It was 6. That's fine. Look, I had it like this and like this, so that probably registered in your mind. That was fast thinking. 6 people were on the trip. Why were we there? To learn about senior project. It was a training, a week-long training. Where were we? Savannah, Georgia. Now listen, I made that plain as day, and guess what I just did? I created an exposition. Your exposition is your groundwork. Why were we even in Savannah, Georgia? Who was there? What time was it? I can also tell you that it was in June, so we were out for summer break. We were still working. But I can tell you all those things, and all that is creating a foundation or an exposition for my story. Y'all got me? Exposition. Characters, settings, time, background information that you need to understand this story. So to get to Savannah, Georgia, there were 4 legs of our trip. We flew from Memphis to Atlanta, Atlanta to Savannah. So on the way home, we flew from Savannah to Atlanta. It was late, we were tired, and we were on the plane, we were ready to go home, ready to see our families. Had been in the air about 4 minutes, and the captain comes on the loudspeaker and says, there has been a malfunction. Now look, we sent a big old airplane, you hear me? That is not the thing that you want the captain to come on the loudspeaker and say. Let me tell you what that was. That was called an inciting incident. What in the world is that? It's the event that sets the rest of the plot into motion. So exposition, you come up a little bit, you have inciting incident, then you have rising action. Here's my rising action. The pilot said, remove all sharp objects from your pockets. Remove eyeglasses if you are wearing them. Place your feet flat on the floor. Cross your arms and put them on the seat in front of you and tuck your head down. And brace yourself for impact. I would put that in quotation marks as dialogue by the captain. I would also put in quotation marks the fact that he said there has been a malfunction. Okay? Malfunction. That's dialogue. Narratives have dialogue. Every time you change who said something, you have to start a new paragraph. But those are 2 instances where I would use dialogue. What did the captain say exactly? Yeah. And like, why would I? I mean, who would know?
Nobody.
And so it's my story. I have the poetic license, if you will, and that's a little extreme, but it's my story. I can make him say whatever I want. Y'all got me? Now, truly, you're right. Those of you who said no, it's supposed to be, if you're going to quote somebody, you better quote them correctly. But this is narrative writing. You are telling a story. Okay. I watched a stewardess, this is continued rising action. I watched a stewardess teach a mother and a daddy in the front row how to hold their toddler in case we crashed. I watched them shut down all the lights on the plane except for the exits. They taught us how to go down those blow-up slides from the emergency exits. They taught us how to put on our oxygen mask. And we just had to sit and wait. It took us about 30 minutes to turn around in the air. We had only been up there 4 minutes. It took us about 30 minutes to turn around. We landed on an emergency runway at the Atlanta airport. We looked out the window. It was dark inside the plane. All we could see lined down this emergency runway was this: ambulance, fire truck, ambulance, fire truck, ambulance, all the way down the runway. And we were watching as we slowly turned around and come over that emergency landing, runway. All of that I'm telling you is rising action. Then the climax is that it was a very bumpy, rough landing. But we made it. And so at that point, when you hear that we landed, you can do this. Oh my gosh. Okay. That begins your falling action. The tension releases some, and out comes the captain from the cockpit. He's white-headed. I remember that. He comes out from the cockpit, and everybody erupts in applause, screaming, clapping for a really long time. And he says this: I'm going to get you out of here as fast as I can. You can't get off right now because of safety concerns, but I'm going to get you off as fast as I can. He said, because I know some of y'all are going to go to the bathroom. And somebody in the back corner over here says, not anymore. Okay? Hilarious. Crazy and hilarious. So we end up getting off the plane, and they put us in a hotel for the night so that we could take another flight home in the morning. Now, that was in my rough draft, but wait, I remembered something else. I remembered something before we get to the hotel. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to my rough draft and skip up a few lines and insert something else. So some ladies that were on the plane near me saw how much I was crying and scared, and they asked me did I want to ride in the car with them. They were going straight to the rent-a-car place. They were going to rent a car and drive from Atlanta to Memphis, and they asked me if I wanted to go with them. I told them that I needed to get back on the plane. I would also say something like, you got to get back on the horse that threw you. Y'all heard that before? Anybody heard that before? Mm-hmm. You've heard it, so you've heard it, so you got to get back on the horse that threw you. I told those ladies I appreciated it, thank you, but I was not going to do that. I was going to go with my people. So, we get back to the hotel, and one of the English teachers starts griping. She's griping about the airplane company. She's griping about this nasty hotel. Griping, just being a Karen, okay? And so the history teacher looks at her and says, shut up. He says, I don't want to hear another word from you. We could be out there splattered on that runway, right? And you know what she did? She hushed. She didn't say anything else. So we ended up flying home the next morning and just thankful for our families. Now, There's something else that came to my mind a while ago that I'll have to insert in my rough draft, but maybe I can think of it as I'm typing later. Now look, my conclusion is that we're all home safe with our family. That's how the story ended, okay? You got it? Come on now, I'm almost done. That's how the story ends. Now let me ask you this question. Do you see a clear exposition? How I built the foundation, told you the background information, set up my characters, told you where we were going, while we were there, setting, characters, background information. You saw we started to go up, we had an inciting incident, which was what?
Plane almost crashed.
They had to come on, plane messed up, said there was a malfunction. Rising action, rising action, rising action, and then we landed, which was the climax. Then it all starts to be falling action, and then we resolve and conclude the story. That's your plot right there. That's it. Now let me ask you one more question. Is this true? No.
Oh, yes. Oh. I feel like you lied because
She asked if this
I feel like you lied because you said, for one, you had said, when you first started out, you said, what did you say? You said we started driving. You said,
something that caused you to doubt me?
yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this. Would it matter whether it's true or false?
Not really.
Because guess what? My narrative coursework would be done.
Exactly.